Climate change protests around the world. Today in D.C., protesters trying to shut down traffic in our nation's capital. The UN holds its climate change summit ahead of the General Assembly in New York City this week. Marc Morano joins us, Climate Depot founder. Marc, let me come at it like this.
Sure.
Seems to me that the rest of the world is at odds with America on climate change, and we are at odds with the rest of the world on climate change.
Well, there is truth to that partially, but before I go there, Australia, parts of Canada, particularly Western Canada, Poland, Brazil, there's a whole coalition of countries, and even Italy and some in Europe are rejecting this net zero. So there is some climate rebellion fomenting.
Net zero being we get to zero carbon emissions by X number of years.
Yes, net zero emissions on these pledges,
So
particularly
reject that.
Yes, the old Eastern Bloc and the Soviet Union-dominated countries are rejecting a lot of this. But I think the answer to this question is we've always been at odds for one simple reason. When someone proposes a UN climate treaty or the solution to global warming, it's almost always central planning, massive government regulation. Europeans aren't opposed to that. So they don't even bother to challenge the science or look at the reason why it's being forced on them. In the United States, we say, wait a minute, what? And then you look at the science, you realize the science doesn't hold up. And even if you believe the science, the solutions like Green New Deal, UN Paris, don't have any impact, even according to their own models. 100 years from now, you can't tell the difference. So that's why America's more skeptical. It's because we have, first of all, the American attitude. You'll see it on guns and other things as well. We reject that kind of government control over our lives.
Do you think that the solutions, and I quote unquote, the solutions to climate change that are being offered, are they still popular in Europe? Because Europe is really suffering from these so-called solutions.
They're suffering. Seniors are suffering, and UK winter deaths have increased. It's raising the cost of energy across the board. Germany's been struggling with it. All of them. We're doing better in the United States than these European signers who are going to be at the UN summit in New York shaming President Trump. We're doing better. We're leading the world in CO2 emission reduction.
Exactly. Nobody ever points that out. America has done more to cut CO2 emissions than any other major economy.
And it's through technology and innovation. And it's chiefly through fracking. You don't get, if we did face a climate catastrophe, the last thing you'd want is, as the UN says, a centralized transformation that will make life on Earth, planet Earth, very different. That's a direct quote from the former UN climate chief. You would want technology, innovation, free markets competing. If Al Gore's right, and there's a lot of money to be made in solar and wind and all that, great. Let the entrepreneurs go out and make it. If we can go to Walmart, buy a solar panel, get off the grid, we can stop this nonsense about the Green New Deal. The point is, he's not right about it, and that's the thing. This is about using the climate scare to get politics, a political agenda they couldn't otherwise get, and that's why they're using kids as human shields.
Before we close, do you believe that human activity is contributing to warming of the planet?
Oh, I think you just get a key word there, contributing. Yes, humans can warm the planet, they can cool the planet, and I think that we do have an impact. However, it's not distinguishable from natural variability. 1 degree Celsius, the temperature's gone up. Top European scientists said we wouldn't even have noticed the warming over 100 years without modern instrumentation. Humans are not driving a catastrophe. We're not the control knob. And that's the difference. These kids are testifying before Congress saying they have no future unless we can essentially kill the market economy in the United States and impose a central plan on us. That's what they're testifying.
Yeah, that really got to me. The children, they are very young kids who are making these grandiose statements.
Yes.
Words put into their mouths by adults who...
Yes, it's sad. They had a die-in for the kids. Greta Thunberg, the Swedish girl, went to the White House. I was at the event where she spoke. They had kids lying down at the White House gates for 11 minutes to symbolize 11 years until the planet's dead, unless government saves it and tries to legislate storms and weather. It is a really dark day for the movement when they turn to kids like this as human shields.
Marc Morano, thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Breaking in because we